Hi, everybody. I'm back here again, and I'd like to discuss with you a very short little channeling that I received from my guides on the 8th of the 8th, so the Lion's Portal. And this was a big wake up call for me and a kick in the rear. Yep, it was most interesting. So, okay, so let me tell you the situation. As you know, this is difficult times for many of us. Family and friends are disagreeing about the current situation. I had a particular episode in my family where two family members were very adamant that my mother should take what is going around at the moment to prevent her from what they thought might be a catastrophe. And she was adamant that she did not want it. But they insisted to such an extent that she felt ground down, and to keep the peace, this is something that she should do. Well, I wasn't happy about that, and I let them know under no uncertain circumstances what I felt about that, and them trying to influence her like that, or rather, how did I feel? I felt it was against her basic human rights, being coerced into doing something that she didn't feel comfortable with. So I was standing up for her. Well, was I about to learn a lesson, a big lesson from my guides? So here goes. I said to them, hi team, I don't know why I decided to add 8 plus 8 plus 21, all those numbers together. I just decided to. Oh, you tell me. That is what it means to follow one's intuition. And as you write that, you remember seeing something today that you saw in a totally different way. And now you've forgotten what it was. So during the day, I had such an aha moment. I thought, wow, I've never looked at it like that. And I thought, oh, I'll remember it. I don't have to write it down. And it just disappeared. So in actual fact, now I know that when I have the aha moments, I have to write them down because they do just disappear. So this is what they say, and this is the message for all of us. We want you to realize that any given situation can be shown many different ways, actually be seen many different ways. For example, the way that your mother, and let's call it the medicine, and the way your brother and sister saw your mother and the medicine were two very different ways. You allowed it to rattle your cage, so to speak. And that terminology is a good one. For when one's cage is rattled, then you know you're caged. You're not free. And you are not giving the other person the right of their freedom either. So, as much as you would like to think that you are correct, they feel the same way. So then what happens? What happens when you don't own yourself? Now remember, my guides always said, J-O-Y, just own yourself. But I wasn't owning myself. I was stepping up, feeling very self-righteous on behalf of my mother to protect her and protest and say, hey guys, this is not fair. You can't do this. And I was then impinging my opinions down their throat. I wasn't owning myself then. So they said, what happens when you don't own yourself? Well, then you begin to rub against each other. You rub oneself up the wrong way. And so now it's not running together. The pattern is no longer smooth, it's ruffled. And then they showed me a piece of velvet with a smooth edge. So if you ran your fingers down a beautiful piece of velvet and it went beautifully, it would be smooth. But if you got this hand and dragged it towards you, there would be a ruffle. One would be flat and the other, all the fibers would be standing up. So they said the pattern is no longer smooth. So the relationship is no longer smooth. It is now ruffled. They said, why would one need to have a say about another's opinion? It's their opinion. That is the thought one needs to ponder. One has now been feeling a discomfort again. So they said you're choosing a heavier load than necessary because this is a time for load shedding. This is not a time for warfare. It was like I was having this little war with my brother and my sister. But this is a time for allies. This is a time for ally building. We say this is a time for everyone, for soft treading. There are so many at the moment with frayed edges. So they said, sleep well, let your motor purr well, for tomorrow is a new day, and we have not seen much walking, much writing, or much water drinking from you. The WWW, writing, walking, and water. So guys, I really thought I would share that, which is so very personal with you, because if you had told me that 3 weeks earlier or 4 weeks earlier when it happened, that I would feel differently about it, I would say absolutely not. I was so strong in my conviction. I was so angry on behalf of my mother. But they are loving her. They only want the best for her, just like I do. And who's to say I'm right and they wrong, or they wrong and I'm right? We are both loving her from our points of view. So I'm now going to apologize to them so that I don't have to carry that weight of having a falling out with a brother and a sister. And it really wasn't my right to tell them what I thought. My mother has her own voice, and she perhaps needs to learn how to use it. And maybe that's her journey. So why should I then step in like that? So it's been an interesting lesson for me to learn. And maybe it's touched a nerve with you. Maybe you having a situation in your lives where you're causing problems in your life because you feel that you need to tell somebody what to do. What will happen if you don't tell them? Will you perhaps have peace? Will you perhaps allow them to be just as much as you want them to allow you to be? So I really had to put, what do they say, put your money where your mouth is. And I had to fess up and know that I'd overstepped the line, and I've learnt an amazing lesson. So I wish you well and have an awesome midweek. And no doubt I'll see you next week. Lots and lots of love, and take care, and all for now.